a grocery store, a mother's dignity, a moment that would restore faith in humanity. Maria Santos stood at checkout lane 3, her 3-year-old son Diego clinging to her leg as she fumbled through a worn Ziploc bag filled with coins, nickels, dimes, quarters, and yes, pennies she'd been collecting for weeks just to afford this cart of basic groceries. Behind her, the line grew longer and the sighs grew louder, but she couldn't have imagined that her most humiliating moment was about to become someone's most beautiful act of kindness. This is Hopeful Horizon. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and subscribe for stories that prove the smallest gestures can create the biggest waves of change. Maria had been dreading this moment all week. 3 days until payday, and Diego was out of milk. Her teenage daughter Carmen needed lunch money for school. The gas bill sat unopened on her kitchen counter, threatening disconnection, but groceries came first. They always came first. She'd spent Tuesday evening after her cleaning shift at the office building, counting and recounting the coins she'd been saving in an old coffee can. $47.33. Enough for milk, bread, eggs, and maybe some mac and cheese if she was lucky. Now, standing in the fluorescent-lit grocery store at 8:30 p.m., Maria felt every eye boring into her back as she methodically sorted through her change. Diego tugged at her worn jeans, whispering, "Mommy, I'm hungry," and she fought back tears that had nothing to do with exhaustion. "Come on, lady," muttered the man behind her, loud enough for half the store to hear. He wore an expensive polo shirt and tapped his credit card impatiently against his phone. Some of us have places to be. A woman in designer yoga clothes shook her head audibly. Seriously? Who pays with pennies in 2024? This is what EBT cards are for. Maria's cheeks burned. She wanted to explain that she didn't qualify for food stamps, made $20 too much at her 2 part-time jobs, wanted to tell them she'd been up since 5 a.m. cleaning office buildings before rushing to her afternoon shift at the school cafeteria. But shame had stolen her voice. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the teenage cashier, whose name tag read Tyler. "I can put some things back." "Ma'am, you don't need to apologize for anything," Tyler said quietly, but his words carried through the suddenly hushed store. "Take all the time you need." The man with the credit card groaned. "Unbelievable. This is exactly what's wrong with people today. Have some self-respect." Diego looked up at his mother with wide, confused eyes as she blinked back tears. Maria had never felt smaller in her life. Tyler Martinez was 17 years old and working 20 hours a week to save for community college. He'd grown up in this same neighborhood, remembered his own mother counting food stamps at this very store when times got especially tough. He recognized the look in Maria's eyes, the desperate hope mixed with crushing shame that he'd seen in the mirror of his childhood. As Maria's hands trembled over the coins, Tyler made a decision that surprised even him. "Here, let me help you with that," he said gently, stepping around the register. He began organizing her coins into neat stacks, his movements deliberate and respectful. "These old registers can be picky about how we feed the coins in." The line behind them had gone quiet, but Tyler could feel their impatience like a physical weight. He didn't care. When they finished counting, Maria was $3.17 short. Her face crumpled as she reached for a box of cereal to put back. "Wait," Tyler said softly, pulling his own wallet from his back pocket. He slipped a $5 bill across the scanner and entered it as a store discount. "Looks like you qualify for our customer appreciation special tonight. Everything's covered." Maria stared at him, her eyes filling with tears. "I can't. You don't have to." "My mom always told me that kindness is the only currency that never loses its value," Tyler said, bagging her groceries with extra care. "Besides, it looks like you're raising a pretty awesome kid there." Diego beamed up at Tyler like he'd just witnessed magic. In a way, he had. The store remained silent as Tyler handed Maria her receipt and bags. "You have a wonderful evening, ma'am. And Diego, you help your mom with these groceries, okay, buddy?" As Maria pushed her cart toward the exit, she turned back once. "Thank you," she mouthed, her voice too thick with emotion to carry the words aloud. Tyler just smiled and turned to his next customer as if paying for a stranger's groceries was the most natural thing in the world. What none of them knew was that Jennifer Walsh, a local teacher standing 3 people back in line, had been quietly recording the entire interaction on her phone. She'd started filming in frustration, intending to post about rude customers, but what she captured instead left her speechless. Back home that night, Jennifer watched the video again and again. Tyler's gentle patience, Maria's quiet dignity, the transformation of a moment that should have been humiliating into something beautiful and human. She posted it to social media with a simple caption: "This is what kindness looks like. This young man just restored my faith in humanity." By morning, the video had been shared 300 times. By noon, it was trending locally. Comments poured in from across the city. "I know this store. Going to shop there from now on. Someone find this cashier so we can give him the recognition he deserves." That mama was just trying to feed her babies. Respect to the young man who saw her dignity when others saw only delay. Local news stations picked up the story. The grocery store manager, initially concerned about an employee paying for customers, found himself fielding calls from people wanting to donate to Tyler's college fund and praise his character. But it was Maria's neighbor who recognized her in the video and shared it with their small apartment complex. By Tuesday, Maria's mailbox was overflowing with gift cards, cash donations, and job offers from people who'd been moved by her story. 2 weeks later, Maria returned to the same grocery store, this time with a steady paycheck from her new full-time position at a local medical office, a job that came with benefits and regular hours, offered by a woman who'd seen the video and needed someone with Maria's work ethic. Tyler was working when she arrived, and his face lit up when he saw her and Diego approaching his register. "Well, look who's back," he said, giving Diego a high five. "How are you guys doing?" "Better," Maria said, her voice steady and strong. "So much better, thanks to you." She handed him a card, not a greeting card, but a business card for the community college where she'd enrolled in night classes to become a certified medical assistant. On the back, she'd written, "Kindness is contagious. Thank you for teaching my son what real strength looks like." Tyler's eyes misted as he read it. "Ma'am, You changed our lives," Maria interrupted. "Not just by helping with the groceries, but by treating us like we mattered when everyone else treated us like we were in the way." Diego tugged on Tyler's apron. "I told all my friends you're my hero," he announced proudly. As Maria and Diego left the store, this time with heads held high and bags full of groceries they could easily afford, Tyler realized something profound. His mother had been wrong about kindness being a currency that never loses value. It wasn't currency at all. It was an investment that paid dividends he'd never even imagined. Maria Santos walked into that grocery store carrying the weight of judgment and the fear of not being enough. She left carrying something far more valuable, the reminder that her dignity was never up for debate and that compassion still existed in the most unexpected places. Tyler Martinez thought he was just doing his job, maybe remembering his mother's lessons about treating people right. He couldn't have known that his quiet act of kindness would ripple outward like stones thrown into still water, creating waves of generosity that would touch dozens of lives. The video of their interaction didn't go viral because it was dramatic or shocking. It spread because it showed something increasingly rare, a moment when someone chose empathy over efficiency, patience over profit, love over logic. In a world that often feels divided by differences, Tyler and Maria reminded us of a simple truth. We are all just people trying to take care of the ones we love, and sometimes the smallest gesture of understanding can transform not just a moment, but a life. If this story reminded you of a time when someone chose kindness, when they could have chosen convenience, or when you chose compassion over judgment, share it with us in the comments. Tell us about your Tyler, the person who saw your worth when you couldn't see it yourself. Hit subscribe for more stories that prove the most powerful force in this world isn't money or status or even strength. It's the decision to treat each other with dignity, especially when no one is watching. Until next time, remember that every checkout line is a chance to choose kindness, every interaction an opportunity to lift someone up instead of tearing them down. This is Hopeful Horizon, signing off.